Hi, I'm Sierra McCormick, and these are my 4 Letterboxd faves. So let me get out my Letterboxd so I can make sure this is completely correct information. So my first favorite is The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. Probably one of the more recent additions to what I would consider like the canon of my favorite movies of all time. It rocked my shit. Honestly, one of the most mind-blowing cinematic experiences. It's like very me movie, honestly. It's like very tailored to everything I love. God, the cinematography and the art direction, the costumes, oh my fucking god, the costumes. The performances all around are so wonderful, and I could watch that movie a million times. And then my second favorite is The Passion of Joan of Arc. I actually have a Passion of Joan of Arc tattoo. I have one tattoo, and it's a reference to that. That was kind of the beginning of my journey into exploring silent film, because up until then, my perception of silent film was definitely more on the sort of over-the-top slapstick side, the Harold Lloyd and the Charlie Chaplin, stuff like that, Buster Keaton. And not that those aren't great, but when I watched Passion of Joan of Arc, I was blown away by how naturalistic and touching and raw silent film performances could be. Always and forever inspired by The Passion of Joan of Arc. If you had held a gun to my head for the last 20 years and made me pick a favorite movie, it would be Blade Runner. I remember just watching that movie for the first time. I was probably 11 or 12, and it was such a formative experience for me, not just with the performances, but the world building and the beautiful, just Tarkovsky-esque sort of cinematography, and the way that the smoke and the cigarettes billow in that movie just never ceases to blow me away. Anytime it's in a theater, or honestly anytime I'm at home and I just feel like watching something I love, I toss it on. So I've seen it probably hundreds of times at this point. And I know it's supposed to be this apocalyptic, awful version of Los Angeles, but for some reason when I watched that movie the very first time when I was a kid, I just was so distraught that I couldn't live inside of it. And then my final 4th favorite is a movie that I actually watched when I was preparing for Vast of Night, because it's one that Andrew Patterson, the director, and I talked about some, and it's Sexy Beast, the Jonathan Glazer movie. Love that movie. It's equally as inspiring as it is kind of comforting. There's something so very early aughts, late 90s about it. The movie has its own language. There's just a rhythm and a musicality to the way that the characters all speak within this universe of Sexy Beast. I watched it for the first time, part of it on a plane, and I had been on a long flight, and I was trying to decide what to watch, and I was like, oh, I've always wanted to see this. And then I started watching it, and 30 minutes in, I stopped it because I was like, I need to go home and watch this. I cannot finish this movie on a plane. It's too good. Oh my god. The minute I landed, I ran home, and I was like, I need to finish this movie. And so then I I watched the rest of Sexy Beast.
Do you know which actor recently picked Vast of Night in his 4 faves?
I do, Jack Quaid.
Yes!
Which shout out to Jack. Thank you so much.
This next one's kind of recent, The Vast of Night.
After he shouted it out, hundreds of people watched it on Letterboxd, were adding it to their watch list. They were reviewing it saying oh wow, I never would have known about this movie if Jack Quaid hadn't shouted it out. I'm so glad he did. So how does it feel to know that a new audience is discovering Vast of Night 5 years later?
That's so wonderful, because when we shot it, very low budget, very indie in 2016, I felt like I was doing my most proudest, best work, but with indie movies, you never know if anyone's ever gonna see your proudest, best work. And it's just a wonderful, I think, fortunate, serendipitous, whatever you want to call it, thing that people got to see it in the first place, and then now a whole new group of people are gonna watch it. It makes me very happy, because I'm very proud of that film. The experience of making it was probably one of the most artistically exhilarating experiences of my career. So anyone who watches it, I have a lot of love. Thank you.